Labor union, they're called Union of Industry, Commerce and Finance
UNICOF.
Workers, UNICOF. And they say they're going to hit the streets, preventing the implementation of those charges of VAT on those financial services.
That is one of the most bizarre situations that we've ever come across.
Which one?
This whole situation about VAT on commissions, fees and charges.
You pass the law?
No. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That is the most bizarre situation.
You passed the law, now you say the thing is bizarre.
The law was passed on 31st December. We are in July, ending July. How come it's not being implemented? It's not being implemented because, one, if you don't think through it, two, if you don't take further steps, because the law even allows you to bring regulations. And if by now you had brought regulations, you would have streamlined all these things. But now you say that, oh, we are doing education, so we start in March. It goes to June. By end of June, we are still doing education. A whole year will pass, we will not have implemented it because, one, even information was not accurate. Some of us had to come out to tell the whole world that that information is not accurate. Because in the old VAT law, the situation was different from the new one that we passed. The new one was making explicit that fees, charges, commissions on bank transactions will be VATable. And then the banks then tell you that we have about 40 situations where we can impose VAT. Then the government comes in and wants to draw a list with the banks. And as we speak, we've not even seen the kind of list they want to draw and when they are going to implement it. Indeed, if you go to the law, that means what the government is doing is even illegal. Where has Parliament given authority to government to suspend some aspect of the law that we have to implement?
That don't charge some areas. Charge on some
impose VAT on some areas, and in some other areas in the law, talk about education and suspend it. Who has given you that authority? And have you even brought any regulations to enable you pass through that window? These are challenges, and that's what I'm saying. It's bizarre. Initially, even the government explanation was problematic because they were giving us different stories.
Do I get a sense that perhaps the opposition and civil society is making government's work difficult in trying to raise the needed revenue?
Not at all.
As far as this is concerned.
Not at all. In anything that you do.
You are playing against.
No, in anything that you do, once you're in charge, you have to think through and then focus. If we were to start the implementation of this fees and commission by 1st January, as the law said, if that's what you wanted to do, then you should have prepared for it, and come 1st January, you take off.
You are saying it was ad hoc?
Very ill-planned. Because by 1st January 2014, people were paying VAT all over the place. The water you were buying, the VAT was on it. Those who were importing, everything 17.5%. But when it came to commissions and charges, first, we were not told the true story. Second, you said we will have to hold on because people have to get used to it. And we are still getting used to it. In July, we are entering August. And what I'm saying is that if they had been thought through, the next step would have been, okay, let's go for regulations. The regulations will spell out which areas that we can impose this VAT when it comes to financial transactions. And it's not been done since then. And we are going to August.
So, I know. They said it's a difficulty.
Well, I mean, certainly.
Does it make communicating for government difficult for you?
Oh, not necessarily. I've always said, and I believe that it is so with almost everybody, that a decision without a reason creates problems. You understand? And
because sometimes the government officials, as well as even the communicators, struggle to explain some of the things, especially when the action is not coming from the top. Like they need to see the signs out. This is what is going to be. The roadmap is not there. So sometimes it makes communicating to the public that, oh, you want to explain difficult, right?
Oh yes, certainly. But then I should think that anybody at all, let's say from the Ministry of Finance or from the
they rather should have been coming out to do all the explanations.
Yes, would certainly explain these matters properly. But from what one would gather, if that is the situation, let's say Parliament hadn't okayed certain things, certain questions weren't asked Parliament to okay and stuff like that, but should have been so, then of course we have to give reason for any decision taken. And if and failing that, we'll create the problems that we are experiencing.
What do you make of this whole aspect of well, imposing charges on certain sections or aspects of banking services, etc., or even banking services in general?
Charges on banking services, I don't think customers have actually liked it in anywhere at all. I mean, taking 5p, 10p, 20p, etc. from maybe you signing check or for your own check to be processed and stuff like that.
Or withdrawals from ATM.
Yes, stuff like that. I don't think that anybody appreciates that. But having said that, these are services that are being provided to yourself. You understand? And I think there are different sort of commodities that banks actually come out with. So you see what is best for yourself, and then probably you take advantage of that. Having said that, I'm one person who believes in taxes. Yes, to actually make sure that your country gets to a certain point in development. And what it means is that the problem that you would have as the one who is going to tax is when, how, and how much. You understand? I think that is critical, because you then get to a certain curve and then it's all negative, isn't it? I mean, negative effect. So I think it's good, but what happens is that we need to tax at the right time and tax the right commodities, so that at least and the ordinary Ghanaian will know what is actually happening and will not be begging too much.
Saying that we need to tackle at the right time and all that, do you think then that perhaps government was very panicky in putting together all this? Well, at a time when the concern the finance minister had was that, as far as revenue was concerned, the chunk we were using to expend on the budget, especially on emoluments, etc., were huge, and as a result of that, they needed to tax a lot more. And so perhaps they were just very wishy-washy, not in that very sense, but just in a very ad hoc and very panicky situation.
Yeah, I think government do panic, people do panic, but then...
No, don't give me hypothetical scenarios. I'm asking you, do you think that was what happened?
I wouldn't say that was what happened. Maybe a decision was taken at the time that government would think that it is the right decision. After one or two experiences, they will realize that probably A or B wasn't the right decision that has to be taken, and then they will have to address it in a different manner. So yes, at any point in time, governments do take decisions that obviously after a period of time they will realize that it wasn't the right decision. What I want to believe is that government decision at any point in time at all is to serve the best interest of the people.
I like you're a good communicator. You dodge my...
No, I've not dodged your decision. Government will always take a decision in the best interest of the people, and I think that is what this government does.
Do you think government was panicky? Well, at the close of the financial period, last year, they were concerned.
Government decided to increase revenue by imposing tax on anything that they could think of. And of course, government has done it before. The condoms, cutlass issue.
That's why I'm asking.
Government had to reverse when they...
Because they did that, I think, for 2 quarters, then they came to reverse it.
Yes,
in the
because
next
one, what was supposed to come in was just small, and 2, the impact, the social impact that they had was huge for government. So the same way, if government wanted to impose VAT on these services, it should have been thought through. That's what I'm saying. It should have been thought through what will come in, and then how do we do it so that the average person will not feel that now everything is being taxed. That is the situation.
During the period when all these were announced, the banks also imposed some charges, etc. Not necessarily the same, but they were also panicking, and they also increased their charge. Those charges have still not been withdrawn, but they also say these are not the new financial charges to be charged on VAT. So it creates a burden. It creates a burden in the mind of the consumer that, well, already you're charging if you do withdrawals, depending on which bank, and you do withdrawals not from your bank's ATM. There are some banks that are charging 8 cedis, some that charge 5. Now, VAT charges have not come yet.
Well, you're talking about different situations.
I'm talking about different situations. Yes.
The banks imposing charges or increasing their charges on services they provide.
But it's also
And
because there was a panicky situation within the period. So
I don't see that way, because as far as I'm concerned, the banks sent out information to their customers that come this date, by law, we are supposed to impose VAT on fees, charges, commissions. There was no exception. Until the attention of the government was drawn to it, then the government tried to have a list, sort of, so that they agree that if you can impose all this on 50 items, we want you to restrict them to 30 items. But even that, I think that we've not been able to conclude it, and we are in this situation. If the banks want to charge, fine, they charge. You like their services, you continue to save with them. If you don't like their services, you move on. But if government is imposing additional charge, then we have to be clear on the additional charge and then move on.
I remember was it the day or the night when you were approving this very aspect of the VAT, the new VAT law. There were concerns that were raised by Dr. Antonia Kutuose, etc., and also a number of the minority.
We abstained from the vote because right from the beginning we didn't know the government was increasing it to 70.5%.
Right.
It was put in at the last moment, and we thought.
Do you think that by those actions you took, you also created a certain euphoria within the atmosphere? And sometimes perhaps also you don't communicate your opposition to some of these issues right.
Sometimes probably
trying to make the government look bad.
No, sometimes probably I also think that the media does not listen to us often, or the media sees it as banter between two sides, who wins or who is making the best argument.
Could also be your posture.
Look at the Chinese loan situation. I mean, we brought out all the parameters. These people, they are jealous. These people, when the money comes, the government will look good. There will be days. That's why they are opposing it.
Actually, if the money had come, government will look good.
Look good, and you tell the story well, how much you are paying for it, and the conditions that
I'm asking if the government. I'm telling you, if the money had come, the government.
I believe that government wasn't going for that money just for government to look good. Government was certainly going for that money for the Ghanaian to have a better life. And that's why I keep saying that governments do take decisions for the people in good faith. You understand? So it wasn't a matter of.
No, but if you're taking decisions.
Just a minute.
No, I was on the floor.
Oh, you were? Okay. Stay on the floor. Stay on the floor.
No, I just explained to you.
But I want to believe.
Obviously, it's for the good of the people.
Yes.
But you should also listen and take advice. What did it happen with STS? I mean, we all want housing. They brought the military and the police to Parliament till midnight to come and look at those of us who were questioning government about some of the steps the government was taking. At the end of the day, what happened to STS? The president had to be dragged to the site to go and cut the sword as if everything was taken off. At the end of the day, because we cautioned and said that watch some of these things and take very good steps, otherwise it will not benefit us. And it came to pass.
You see, it's about when you questioned. Yeah? When you question, I don't think these. I remember I was in Parliament myself, and those military men also came there just to listen to what is in there for them.
To listen.
Yes, what is in there for them with the STS. I don't think it was.
I think they have an aspect about the defense, which is still part of the 1.5.
Thank you very much. You understand?
Not the Chinese. He's talking about STS.
Yeah, the STS that you just spoke about. So what I'm trying to say is that
you think they came to.
It wasn't a propaganda that he's trying to.
Have you used the word?
No,
used the word. He's using it.
No, but that's part of the politics.
What I'm saying that till midnight you fill the gallery with the forces.
No.
Is it
but we're in a democracy. We're not.
Is it the first time that we are doing anything for the forces? And then on the floor, the speeches on the floor, creating the impression that these are the people who don't want good for the forces.
Now you guys use the phrase on the floor, so you're on the floor.
Was I on the floor?
Yeah, on the floor.
Okay. The simple matter is that with the STS, with the Chinese loan, with whatever decisions that this government is taking, I can assure you and the good people of this country is that every single decision is in the best interest or for the best interest of Ghanaians. And government would always listen. Look, if at any point in time government had taken about 3 miles and you say, let's come back to mile 2 because we have an issue to address. We've always done that, to listen and to make sure that we implement the necessary changes that has to be implemented. So when a mistake is committed and a correction takes place. It doesn't mean that somebody just want to look good, or somebody just want to, or somebody had been, let's say, stupid. What it means is that this person is just a listening person and would like to do the right things. And that is what we see with government. I mean, this particular government. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to also say here is that it's not about something that somebody did wrong 8 years ago and did wrong 2 years ago and blah, blah, blah. What it is that we could do tomorrow that will serve the Ghanaian better. And
My
I
last
think,
question.
and I think that, I'm still on the floor, please. And I think that this government
He
is
has to
doing
give you the
exactly
floor.
that. Well, he gave me the floor, and I'm
Yeah, the floor, you still have the floor,
Yes,
though. I'm starting with you. So, just to conclude on the side, do you think UNICOF should go on this is a strike or protest or whatever you want to do?
Oh, well, we've seen in this country that government is tolerating demonstrations because we are in a democratic state, and eventually what they have as their concerns will certainly be presented to government, and government, as a listening government, will certainly look at what they have and address them.
Well, from the way it's going, I think the government is not too comfortable with what it has imposed. I'm sure come November, when the minister brings in the budget on behalf of the president, this aspect will be taken off. That's what I suspect.
Predicting that.
Yes, because we enter August and it's not being implemented. And I don't, from the way, I don't think if government wants to implement it, it will be in this form. The government will have to tinker with it, knowing what is coming out.
Okay, I have to wrap up though, but my director says I should ask this. Just raise my attention. Nanado will be going to do. I hear he's starting his, and is that why you're dressed in blue and you're going?
Oh, not at all.
I like your smile.
There are seven persons who have filed their nominations. They've been vetted. We are yet to even get the vetting report. But they're free to campaign. Wow. And Nanado is free to start his campaign in his own style.
Yeah, I hear you're one of the MPs who are supporting, who have clearly come out to.
You heard it well.
You see, this your smile is mischief.
You heard it well.
Okay. All right.
Your hearsay and your rumors are not helping you this morning.
Okay.
No, I think at the end of the day, whether he supports Nanado or not, what we have to do is wish the NPP well, because as a party, they need to let Ghanaians know what they are actually contributing to the growth of this country at this particular time. Because this particular time, as we said, I don't think that they're doing the Ghanaian any service in opposition at all.
Are you sure?
Certainly.
I think
the gentleman in white is a former chairman of the NDC for UK Ireland. Horace Ni Ayi Ankra is his name. And a member of parliament for Kwapim South is
Osebunsu. The capital is
Osebunsu Obiamwa is known for short. Also a former deputy minister of youth and sports. That's it for AM Talk. Next.